How's it going, guys? Welcome. Today I wanted to talk really quickly about the new Marcus MKBHD wallpaper app called Panels. In case you guys haven't heard of it, it just came out today. He posted a little bit of a video in the iPhone 16 review talking about it. It's basically a wallpaper app. Now, it has gotten a lot of criticism for it being $50 a year just to download some wallpapers. But today I wanted to not tackle that specifically, but more so tackle how this is a really badly made app. So basically, a user named Wako, @UbuKKO, dug into this app, and I believe he was one of the first ones, or at least this was the post that blew up, where he found out all of the wallpapers are basically calling this API on Google Storage that is just all like easily available. As you can see right here, all of the images that are supposed to be paywalled, or at least you're not able to get the HD version of them, are all publicly available. Now, this is a big no-no usually, because what you want to do is, if you have an app where the user needs to pay to get access to a certain thing, you want to put it behind some sort of authentication. So for example, I'm actually working on a project myself and I'm using Supabase. And here we have this auth policy that only someone who has this role can access it. So what does that mean? That basically means if this user has this certain authentication, then they can access the data for that image. But as you can see, all of the wallpapers are all hosted on this Google API storage, and they're all publicly available, both the HD version and the SD version that's locked behind two 30-second ads. Now, this is, again, horrible practice, because as Wuko goes into it, you can just download all the wallpapers. For an app that is purely does one thing, which is wallpapers, I expect it to be able to have that one thing work correctly. So basically, someone else then, by the name of Nadim Kobesi, went and created their own little repo on GitHub that basically just goes through that link that I just showed you and downloads every wallpaper automatically. And funnily enough, he called it MKBHD. Now, what does this mean? I think this is a very, if you ask a lot of developers, this is a pretty straightforward mistake, just putting all of this APIs here. I want to dig a little bit deeper into this, so we're gonna go boot up my phone right now. And as you can see, this is the app. This is the full app. And so what happens is when you first launch the app, it proceeds to do two things. One, it loads both the HD version and the SD version. Because as far as I can tell, these aren't thumbnails or lower quality versions of the images. It just loads the full image, which is already not great practice. But more importantly, all of this is calling that Google Storage API website that we just saw to download all of these. And none of that is authenticated. So essentially, this just bypasses it. So it would be sort of like, let's say I'm a paying user, right? So once I go here and pay, for example, it would generate a unique user token that is tied to me, or in this case, to my Apple account or Google account or whatever. And only I, with that authenticated token, would be able to access the premium wallpapers. This is... To me, this is such a silly mistake that it just seems so obvious, right? Like, it would be something that you test before you even roll this out into an alpha phase, right? It's kind of like in the basic building block of it. You don't want anyone to be able to access it easily. Now, I get maybe the argument is, oh, well, no one's going to be going in here and... it's on an iPhone, it's on a Google phone, they won't be able to pull the API or whatever. But clearly, it's pretty easy, as you have seen. It's done in less than 4 hours since the app came out. It's pretty easy. And I know MKBHD isn't the one sitting down directly programming this and whatnot. It was probably some sort of like, maybe he has some employees, maybe it's funded by him, etc., etc. But whatever it is, I think it's just such a silly, rudimentary mistake that could be easily fixed, easily avoided, so you don't end up with cases like this. I mean, like, this is a great example of this, and I'll show you guys this right now. So I mean, like, here's a really quick example. Someone literally just posted the curl for this. So I can literally just open Postman, send this request, and I'll get the JSON with all the wallpapers. And that's not to mention it's not great practice to store every single wallpaper on one single JSON file. As you can see, this is 68 kilobytes worth of data. It's not great. I would probably, I don't know why it would just return everything. I would have it called by, ID. Maybe you can, maybe not. I'm just trying to figure out if you can just call by one of these wallpapers. But either case, it's kind of a situation where you don't really even want to allow access, even if you are authenticated, to just download all the wallpapers, because this will eventually, right, grow in size as more wallpapers are added. And then so the 68 kilobytes might become 100 and 200, and eventually, someday it might get to megabytes, and you don't really want to be downloading megabytes worth of just text onto your phone that just has links to these wallpapers, right? You want something a little bit more sophisticated. Now, to be clear, it looks like these images themselves aren't hosted on Google. It's only the JSON. It's all held on this website called ImageX, which is pretty much what it sounds like. It's just a place to store these images, and then you can retrieve it. All it looks like this code is doing is going to here, checking if the URL is valid. This data is this JSON data. Yeah, so it converts the string to a JSON, gets the information. The JSON.data here would be this. As you can see, it's called data. It gets that, and then it loops through all of those images based on its ID, and then downloads them basically, and it has a .jpeg at the end. So yeah, so in conclusion, I guess what I'm trying to get at is this is a very silly mistake, and I don't know exactly where it went wrong. I don't know if it's just a single developer or how it was overlooked, but I think it just goes to add a little bit more insult to injury. Again, I don't agree with the $50 a year. I mean, you have an app like Backdrops. You have this awesome app called Backdrops that it's free with ads, but you could pay $5 one time, not per month, just one time, and you get access to all these wallpapers, the new ones that are added, ad-free, full resolution. They have an artist section, community section where artists upload stuff. It's fantastic. I've been using it forever. Even Marquez has shouted them out before and used them before, and in every single way, it's a better made app than this Panels app. And yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate because from someone like Marquez, a lot of people expect a little bit more polish, and it's a respected name. MKBHD is a very respected name. And I mean, I hope these things are fixed. Again, I don't really want to get into the ethical, moral, price standpoint of it, but just purely speaking on a development front, it's not a very well made app either. There's some very glaringly obvious mistakes into it. But anyways, I just wanted to hop in. I know this is my first video, but I just found it really funny, and having worked with all of these like API endpoints and security and authentication, all of that, I just found it interesting that all of it was available like this. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed, like and subscribe. I'm gonna start doing more tech stuff. Yeah, goodbye.